Hi, and welcome to the Cradle of Life Productions. With me is Wellington for another edition of the Well of Inspiration. If you're new to the platform, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like these videos. The videos that we release at the Well of Inspiration and the Cradle of Life is to motivate you, to inspire you, and to help you navigate through some difficult times that you might be going through, giving you those tools that are necessary for you to actually take your personal life, your business, and also help other people to the next level of success, be it for their personal lives, their business, helping your children, helping you in Africa navigate in different ways and different directions. Wellington is here with me again. Wellington, Jambo.
Hey, Dawn, how are you doing today?
Dawn is great. Dawn is great. She's cold. I'm in a jacket today because it's freezing here in Kenya, but we're good. We're surviving. We're alive.
Trust me, I miss the cold. I haven't been in a cold environment for a long time, so I wish I was with you in Kenya right now, experiencing some cold.
That's an excuse to come down soon, Wellington.
There you go. There you go.
How's everything in the Seychelles?
Everything is good indeed. Everything is good.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, Wellington, Well of Inspiration. We're on again this week. Tell us, what do we expect from you today?
You know what? When I was thinking about what topic to talk about this week, I kind of went back and realized that we all grow up in an environment that has kind of a set way of doing things. Now, these set ways of doing things, the things we get taught as we're coming up, they kind of become rules. They lead us in the way we should lead our lives. They kind of guide us in the ways we do the things we do. In fact, when you hear people say things have always been done this way, they are referring to those rules that have been set up by our societies, set up by the people that we live around in the communities that we expose ourselves to. Now, what I'm saying is simply this. Sometimes, if you're gifted with a vision to do something great for your community, great for your family, great for your life as an individual, it may mean that you have to go against those set rules. That's why I call the topic of our conversation today, breaking the rules in order to achieve success. It's all about recognizing that sometimes these rules that are set for us, they come to a point where they no longer serve us in the way that they were designed to initially. And it calls for us to be creative and intuitive enough to recognize that this is no longer the best path for us, the best way to do things, and then we choose to go an alternative path which might not make sense to many people. It might be considered even rebellious or against the rules, but which is important for us because it is the path that leads to our success, breaking the rules to achieve success.
Loving this, Wellington. I like the way you talk about breaking the rules to achieve success. And sometimes we do need to step out of those rules. I think sometimes they become a comfort zone. So, you have this, it's like a box that you're in and you find yourself, okay, I'm going to stay in this space. I'm not going to venture too far out. I'm going to be just stuck in here. And sometimes in order for you to get to where you want to be, you just have to rip the box apart and say, I got to break free and do things differently for them to work out for me.
Absolutely. The rules have been set by people that have come before us normally. And when you just follow the rules blindly, I call that walking through life with your eyes closed, while just treading the path that other people have created. What I'm advocating for today is that it is high time for you and me to amass enough creativity to carve our own paths, to discover new horizons, to do things that may not have been done before by those that came before us, to embrace the opportunities that those who have come before us may not have had during their time. Carving the new path, even though it looks like breaking the rules, you're not really breaking the rules, but you're simply creating the rules that work for the opportunities that you have, the circumstances you have, and the opportunities that are coming along as you live your life.
I like this, Wellington. And I think the way you've said it, these rules have been set by people who came before us. And I think sometimes the old way of doing things cannot be applied into the situations that we find ourselves today.
Absolutely. And it's not just the old way. It is the way designed by another person for their own journey might not work for you. That's why I'm a big advocate for you getting to know yourself. Understand who you are at the core. Understand what you're passionate about, what your values are, your beliefs are. And when you embrace these things and really live your life according to your true core purpose, you will see that rules made for another person might not work for you. And then you have the responsibility to create the path that works for the passions that you have, the vision that you have for life, and the difference that you want to make as an individual, to your family, to your society, and to yourself as an individual. What mark do you want to leave? And are you willing to take the path that may be not so common, but that will lead you to the destination that is designed for you? Go where there is no path, and then you leave the trail.
Fantastic, Wellington. I like this episode. For those who are watching, if you have any comments as we go along in the video, please don't forget to just put them down below. If you have any questions, get them going as we continue the conversation right here on the Well of Inspiration. Wellington, what's next with breaking the rules?
You know what? If you and I are going to make a difference to our families, a difference to our societies, a difference to the community within which we live, we cannot just walk the path that has been created by other people, where we don't understand where they were coming from, what was driving their purpose, what was really motivating and inspiring them to do, what goals they were achieving in the process. We've got to understand that we have the responsibility to recognize our role within the life that we are given, the opportunities, the ideas that come from within us that may come only from us and not from anybody else. We have that responsibility to create a world that works for us. George Bernard Shaw, the Irish playwright, once said that the reasonable man adapts himself to the world, but the unreasonable man persists in trying to adapt the world to himself, and therefore all change is driven by the unreasonable man. You know what, my friends? You might be dealing with whatever situation right now. You might have an idea sitting inside of you that you haven't brought out to the world because maybe you are doubting. Maybe you are confined by the rules. This episode must be that episode that triggers your mind to go back and rediscover who you are and bring about your best self to the world and bring about those ideas, those seeds that are in your mind, in your heart, in your gut. Bring them out there and let the world see what you bring to this world and who you really are. It is that time for you to make a difference. If no one ever broke rules, if no one ever changed the way things were done, the world would not have progressed the way it is done today. Phones would not have progressed the way that we see them changing today. The automobile would not have transitioned to what we know it to be today. You know, it is important that we understand that change is constant. And while change is constant, you and I have the responsibility to create rules that fit the circumstances and the goals and visions that we are targeting for ourselves and for our families and for the world in which we live. It's all about breaking the rules in order to achieve success.
Wellington, I like the way you talk about the unreasonable man, and they're the people who actually, make that progress. I remember watching a clip and it was talking about people who have those ideas that seem to be unreasonable, but it was only unreasonable until it was done. Somebody thought about, I'm tired of walking. And so they decided, why don't I think about something that can make me move faster without having to walk and get tired? The car came about. Somebody thought about flying, and the same thing happened with that. Different innovations come from sources that might might seem unreasonable at the time of the thought, at the time of maybe when you are in existence. But if you take those ideas that might seem unreasonable, you may come up with something so spectacular that people who once saw it unreasonable actually look at it and say, wow, this is actually something that could have been done.
You know what? As you bring your vision to reality, the rules you've lived by in the past lose their credibility. And there comes a time when a new set of rules needs to be created. And there's nobody out there to create the rules for you to walk by but yourself. So sometimes, in order for you to achieve your vision, to bring your vision to reality, you've got to create the rules and then walk by the rules that you yourself have set for yourself. It comes down to this. The next time that you are faced with a decision, the next time that you need to make an important decision for yourself, you've got to recognize that you need to find information. Get advice from those around you. Look at the existing rules and see if they still serve you. When you collect all this information, use your creativity to then create rules that are relevant to the mission that you're on. Rules that are relevant to the life that you're creating, rules that are relevant to the vision that you are bringing into this world. You have that responsibility, not anybody else, but yourself.
Fantastic, Wellington. This is the Well of Inspiration, today's episode, Breaking the Rules to Achieve Success. We'll be back with more. Welcome back, and today we're talking about breaking the rules to achieve success. Wellington is telling you need to get out of that box that you might be in, because things, we're told that things have always been done a certain way, and I think we spend a lot of our lives following that path where we look at things the same way. But there comes a point in our life where, those particular rules that we go by no longer serve a purpose for us. They no longer help us, and sometimes we need to get out and create our own rules. So that means opening a new path for ourselves. The people who set those rules before us had to go through different things. They had those rules set in place because of what they might have gone through and how they chose to navigate it. Sometimes we need to create our own path and actually, allow us to go through the changes that are necessary for us to be able to achieve success by breaking out of the norms. Now, Wellington has spoken to us about that importance of breaking the rules. Wellington, I'm going to hand it over back to you.
You know what? I want us to make this as practical as possible by actually identifying some of the rules that we have heard as examples of what we can actually think about when it comes to what rules to break, so to speak. You see, nowadays, it is not uncommon that if I've got a question to ask or if I'm looking for some guidance, I go to Google and I ask a question. I get loads of information. There's so many gurus out there nowadays, people giving information for free, some you pay for. There's so much information out there. It is also not uncommon for us to ask those around us. Talk about our mentors, our families, our friends. We go there and we ask questions. But one thing I want you to recognize is that when you get information from people, people give you information according to their perspective. Maybe according to what they have experienced in their own journey. Maybe they give you the rules that have worked for them. My recommendation to you, my friends, is that whatever information you get, use that information only to discover within you the rules that actually work for you. Now let's pick up some examples of what rules to break. One of my favorites is, if it's not broken, don't fix it. We're told this all the time. It sounds pretty obvious that, okay, if something is working the way it's working, why should you fix it? But what this does is that it confines our creativity to a particular situation. How about just breaking something that's not broken in order to see the possibilities of what can come out when you try to put it back together, or what else you can create after you break this thing down? When we were kids, we used to make, back home, we used to make animals using mud, clay, right? If you make a cow using clay, it's going to remain a cow until you break it down and then decide to make a goat. Right? It's true, right? Think about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs needed to break the phone as we knew it back then, the computer as we knew it back then, to create what has become the norm in today's world. And his company continues to innovate. Innovation comes from us trying to be creative, sometimes finding solutions to problems that we actually don't know that we have. That's breaking it, even if it's not broken, or fixing it, even if it's not broken. Okay? The other rule to think about is we've often been told that we can't have it all. We can't have it all. As a person, you can only get so much. Listen, my friends, the universe is abundant. Whatever you desire to have, you can have it. There is no limitation to what you as an individual can achieve, what you as an individual can believe and receive based on the actions that you take. So the limitation of telling yourself, of being told that you can't have it all, how can you be motivated if you believe that after hitting a certain milestone, then you can't have anything else beyond that? When we continue to strive for more and more and more, that is when we push the boundaries. That is when we push our creativity to the next level. That is when we discover what we didn't know existed. Because we are just not happy to sit where we are with what we know, with what we have. We can have it all. All it takes is that we believe in it and we are willing to do what is necessary to achieve it. Okay? So we can have it all. The other rule to consider is, hey, you should be content with what you have. Sometimes when we desire more, we are considered to be greedy. You've got so much. Why are you still working to get more? The reality is that there is no limitation. Human potential, human capacity is limitless. You can achieve far more than what you can imagine today. And what you can imagine today is not the end in itself, because when you get there, you will realize that there is another level. So contentment might become a trap if you stop somewhere and just be content with where you are. I'm not saying we should not be happy with what we have, but I'm simply saying that we have to understand that the world and the universe are willing to give us more, and let's not rest on our laurels because we've achieved certain things and we stop there. Aim for some more. Continue to strive. Continue to push boundaries. Continue to innovate. Continue to change and grow and improve, because in doing so, we are advancing mankind, and as human beings, we are growing and getting better.
Wellington, I think a lot of people needed to hear this. I know those 3 points that you've pointed out there. These are things that we're told very often. It's one of those things as you're growing up, you're told, if it's not broken, you don't need to fix it. But like you're saying, that actually stifles, or it, stops you from actually using your creativity and getting to the next level. You also talked about you can't have it all because, otherwise you seem greedy to want to have it all. But the universe is abundant, like you said. And, it keeps giving with no limitations.
That is so true, Dawn. You know what? The real reason for breaking the rules is for people who understand that they've got greatness within them. If you feel that you've got greater things to do, or that you've been given a gift that you need to unleash to the world, here's your responsibility. You've got to understand that you should not be limited by what you see around you, by the rigidity of the rules made for us, or by the rigidity of the way things have been done before. We've got to understand that we can step outside of that, thinking outside the box, or even recognizing that there is no box, and then acting as if there is no limitation at all.
Wellington, I quite like this, and I think that a lot of people, like I said, need to hear the words you're saying to truly understand, those limitations that we've put on ourselves, or what we've heard for so many years. Those things can be broken, and it doesn't have to be in a selfish way. It just means that you want to progress. It means that you want to grow. I think there's one thing that people might be wondering when you're talking about breaking the rules. What is the difference with breaking those rules and actual rebelliousness?
I like that. When I say break the rules, I'm not saying go and break the laws, okay? Every country, every land has got laws, rules, and regulations, okay, that govern the ways our societies work. However, what I'm advocating for is that we should be creative enough to step outside our comfort zones, to step outside of what we've been taught to believe, because there is more to the world out there. As long as we're working to advance humanity, doing well for ourselves, finding creative solutions to the problems we have, or finding better ways to do things, we are stepping outside the box, breaking rules that are designed to confine us to a certain way of doing things, or certain models of activity or business or growth that we ourselves as individuals can actually transition beyond that and doing well. I'm not saying go and become rebellious. I'm not saying go home and tell your parents that, I'm not listening to you guys. You're giving me too many rules. I don't want to do this. I'm saying to you, take all the information. Use every positive information you can get. But when you're done with that, recognize that there is a step beyond that which has been defined for you.
Wellington, I think this can also be linked to one of the episodes we did. We did one that was talking about, change your mindset and change your finances. I think this can also, apply in a certain way, where we're talking about the people with a fixed mindset and those with a growth mindset. Transform from that fixed mindset that always told you, don't break it if it's not broken, you can't have it all. Change that mindset. Go into the growth mindset, where you can tell yourself that you can do different things, achieve better, grow, and just nourish yourself in so many different ways for your personal life and your business. So change that mindset is very crucial for you to be able to move to the next level.
Absolutely. You know what? When you look around, have you noticed that the people who do great things, think about artists, people who bring some amazing creativity to this world, when you get closer to their lives, they tend, in some cases, to be outcasts. Because people don't see the same vision that they see. My friends, as you embrace creativity, as you embrace your vision, you might recognize that you might become isolated. Don't despair, because those who love you, those who believe in you, will come and join you on your journey at a certain point. When they begin to see your vision and believe in what you're working on, they will come and join your vision. Don't worry about being isolated, being set aside, or people just looking away from you, thinking that you have lost your mind. My friends, when you break the rules, you will face criticism. When you break the rules, you will be isolated. But remember, your vision is yours for a reason. It was given to you, and it was not given to anybody else. And that is why it is up to you to see that vision through, even though it might be stepping out of the rules and the confines we've been given by our societies.
Wellington, thank you so much for this week's episode. I'm loving how we can break the rules to achieve success. As we wrap up, final words for today's episode.
You know what? Sometimes when it comes to breaking the rules, fear comes into play. Fear of what the next person might say. Fear of failure. Sometimes fear of success. My friends, I encourage you today, don't be fearful. If you are gifted with a vision, with a goal, with a dream, go ahead with your dream. Step outside the box. Step outside of the rules and the confines we've been given. Go out there, do what you have to do. If they laugh at you, remember when Noah was building the ark, they were laughing at him. But who had the last laugh? Do what you have to do, my friend. Be great, be legendary, and remember, live your life with passion. That's all we have to hold on to.
Fantastic. Don't forget, Wellington does have social media platforms. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. Well of Inspiration is what you need to search. He also has a website, www.wellofinspiration.com. Don't forget to follow us as well. We're also on social media on Facebook and on Instagram. It's at Africa, the Cradle of Life. And you can find more of our content as well on our website, www.thecradleoflife.co. Wellington, let's break some rules.
Let's break some rules indeed, Don. It's been a great pleasure being here, and I wish you a tremendous week ahead.
I wish you a tremendous week ahead as well. Thank you so much for inspiring us and for being part of the journey with us here at the Cradle of Life.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Don.